My friends, I'm Laura Sturgeon, Senator from the 4th District here in northern Newcastle County, Delaware. I wanted to address you all about the recent Dobbs decision from the Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade. I know this is a topic on the minds of many of you and on the hearts of many of you. I realize that many men and women are hurting, are fearful, are wondering what this means for themselves, for their loved ones, and particularly for women in states that have effectively banned abortion at this point or have curtailed abortion services, abortion rights to such an extent that only a very, very few people will be able to avail themselves of those services. First and foremost, please take the time to feel whatever it is you're feeling. You might feel sad, angry, despondent, and these are all normal feelings. I know in the last 48 hours, I've certainly cycled through many of those feelings. At the very beginning, when the decision first came down, I thought I was okay because I knew it was coming, as many of us did. The leaked decision came about quite some time ago now, and we've had time to prepare for this moment. But as it sinks in, and as I watch the reaction of others, people I know and people I don't know, people on social media, people on the television, and I see how many were taken by surprise. Busy people going about their everyday lives who didn't necessarily realize that this was upon us, or maybe thought the leak was inaccurate. There's a lot of shock right now from folks who were surprised, and then from folks like myself who were not surprised by the decision, but were surprised by how deeply it affected us, even though we knew it was coming. So most importantly, take the time you need. There is going to be a grieving process because we are seeing the end of a world in which an abortion was a constitutionally protected right for women across the United States. It is not the same world that we have lived in for the last 50 years. We need to grieve that. We do need to grieve what we have lost. We also need to feel the anger we might feel. I know I'm frustrated with the many people who told me over the years, oh, don't worry, no one is ever going to overturn Roe v. Wade. That's settled law. That's a law of the land. My pro-life or anti-abortion, I guess is the preferable word right now, my anti-abortion friends, were quite certain that this day would never come and that I had nothing to worry about and that, it was an overreaction on the part of those of us who are pro-choice to even worry about this day. I know I'm feeling a little bit of annoyance, irritability towards them for helping to lull me into complacency. But all of that is somewhat misdirected, I guess. They were telling me what they believed to be true at the time. And the frustration truly is with the circumstances that we are in now. So I just wanted to make sure you knew that I am also going through all those emotions and that I think we absolutely all need to give each other space and time and comfort and grace while we process. Processing takes time. And we are going to come to the point where we're ready to take action at different times. Some people are going to need more time to process and grieve before they're ready to take constructive action, and others will need less. So once you're ready to take action if that's your wish, if it's your wish to do something about this. I want to give you some options. First, I want to let you know that if you live in Delaware, your abortion rights are secure for now. In the 149th General Assembly, the right to an abortion up to viability was secured and codified. And after viability, if there is some risk to the woman's health or the fetus's health, a woman and her doctor can make the decision what to do. But up until viability, it's pretty much a woman's right in Delaware to have an abortion, no questions asked, except those necessary to make sure everything is done in the most medically safe way. We also have, we're also expanding abortion rights in Delaware. Earlier this year, we made it so that advanced duty, registered nurses, nurse practitioners, people who before now could only write a prescription for abortion medication under the supervision of a doctor, a medical doctor. We have passed legislation that would now allow nurse practitioners to do that independently, which expands access, especially in areas where it's hard to get a doctor who's willing to prescribe. We are going to be voting on Tuesday, day after tomorrow, on a bill that will allow nurse practitioners to perform procedural abortions. And in the same bill, we are going to be making Delaware a safe haven for people coming from states that prohibit abortion to be able to safely receive an abortion in Delaware without fear of legal repercussions. So we're on it. We're also looking at a constitutional amendment making abortion rights, women's reproductive health rights, part of our Delaware Constitution. And we're also looking at, some legislators have circulated a constitutional amendment that speaks to the right to privacy. So we are on it. Your Delaware legislators are making sure that not only do you retain the rights that you currently have under Delaware law, which are quite liberal, but that we shore up those rights and that we expand them and we expand access and that we protect women coming from other places that aren't as lucky as we are. This is important that you know in case you're worried about your near-term future. What you do need to know, however, is that because all of these rights in Delaware to reproductive health care, the whole array of reproductive health care, up to and including abortion, because these rights are codified in law through an act of the legislature, through various acts of the legislature, they could be undone. They could be dismantled through acts of the legislature in the future. And that is why you have heard others, perhaps too soon, perhaps without acknowledging the grief and anger people are feeling, but accurately saying that elections do matter and that electing pro-choice General Assembly members in state legislatures is extremely important. And so do not ignore that advice. One thing you can do is you can hold your elected officials here locally accountable. You can ask them for their stance on abortion. You can find out if they're pro-choice and under what circumstances do they think a woman should have the choice to terminate a pregnancy. And you can certainly and should, if this is an issue that's important to you, you should take that into consideration when you're deciding on whom to vote. For a long, long time, the anti-abortion movement has turned abortion into a singular issue, into the defining issue for how they choose a candidate to support, how they vote, who they donate to, who they go out and volunteer for. We may need to make abortion rights the most important issue for a while, too, those of us who are in favor of choice. And so to that end, find out where your elected officials stand on abortion, support them if their stance is compatible with yours, and look for someone else to support if their stance is not compatible with yours. If you're worried about women in states where abortion access is now extremely limited, there are things you can do to help them. There's a local event, actually, in my district on Monday night, tomorrow night, at the BBC Tavern and Grill in Greenville. It's one of these guest bartender events. The proceeds will go to the National Network of Abortion Funds. And that is a group that actually helps pay for abortions for people who can't afford them, but also, and this is now more important than ever, can also help pay for transportation from the state that prohibits abortion to a state that allows it. Transportation, lodging, and even sometimes transportation and lodging for the poor person seeking this service and their children, if they have no one to leave their children with. So if you can come to that, I encourage you to come. If you can't come on Monday night, I believe it starts at 6:30 or 7. If you can't come to that, you can donate directly to the National Network of Abortion Funds at donate.abortionfunds.org. This will directly help people seeking abortions in states where their options are extremely limited, severely curtailed, or completely non-existent. Donate.abortionfunds.org. You can also donate to pro-choice candidates in other states. If you want to help states where abortion access has become extremely limited, to see if we could help them turn this around by electing more pro-choice candidates, you could try www.prochoiceamerica.org. And to get a little more granular, prochoiceamerica.org/elections/endorsements. The people who they endorse are all pro-choice, and you can choose a candidate in any state from their long list of endorsed candidates and know that you are donating to a candidate who is pro-choice. Another good resource is emilyslist.org. However, I will caution that Emily's List only donates to pro-choice Democrats. And I do not see this as a partisan issue. I certainly know many, many pro-choice Republican people. And so just know that emilyslist.org does help pro-choice candidates, but only pro-choice Democratic women, actually pro-choice women Democrats. So just be aware. I could not find any particular party affiliation for prochoiceamerica.org. It seems to me that as long as the candidate is pro-choice, they will support them and endorse them, regardless of party affiliation. So that's the one I feel a little more comfortable recommending to you all, since I know there'll be people who are interested in helping that may not be Democrats, and that's fine and great. And gosh, we welcome you in the fight. Planned Parenthood Action Fund. You can find that at PlannedParenthoodAction.org and PlannedParenthood.org. These two websites, one will help people seeking abortions in states where Planned Parenthoods are still able to operate. And know that that is going to be needed, because as people travel to receive an abortion in the states where abortion is still legal, these clinics like Planned Parenthood and others are going to see a big uptick um, in people seeking care. And so they're going to need help. They're going to need funds to be able to continue operating and be able to take people in a timely manner. And as we know, it's preferable, if one is seeking an abortion, to have it early. It depends on the type of abortion. With medication abortion, there's a smaller window. With procedural abortion, there's a longer window, but there does come a point where that window starts to close as you approach viability, especially if it's a healthy fetus and there are no medical complications to the mother. So we want people who are seeking abortions to be able to get an appointment, and be seen and taken care of. And that means that the clinics in the states where abortions are still legal are going to be, I'm guessing they're going to be swamped. And so helping the clinics is still important. And so those are some of the ways you can help in terms of giving contributions to organizations that help women seeking care, and organizations that help candidates who are pro-choice get elected, stay elected, and sometimes overturn seats that are held currently by anti-abortion officials. Beyond that, you can certainly reach out to your local Planned Parenthood clinic. Again, if you go to plannedparenthood.org, you can find your local affiliate and ask if they need escorts. Escorts are people who escort patients who are entering the clinic to seek care. They walk next to them and shield them from protesters, and make them feel safe, because sometimes protesters can get pretty aggressive and in people's faces. And so escorts are incredibly helpful in making the person who's coming to the clinic to seek care feel less alone and less vulnerable. So that is one form of volunteerism that is available to people without any specialized skills. As I think of more ways you can help, I will put it out there. I will share it on my website, here on my Facebook page, where I intend to upload this. If you have other ideas, feel free to put them in the comments. Although I hesitate to open up comments because I don't want to see misinformation added. You should be aware, if you're a person seeking abortion care and you go online looking for it, there are websites that are deceptive. When I was doing some research about the organizations you all might be interested in knowing about so you could donate to, I very quickly found an organization that uses choice in its name, but you do dig a little further and you read on and on, you eventually see that they are a clinic that will try to dissuade you from having an abortion. And they will, we'll see. I don't know. I've never been to one of these clinics, but their website makes it seem like they're trying to give you accurate, objective information. But ultimately, if you keep reading, you see that they're biased, and their goal is to dissuade you, to stop you from having an abortion, and to convince you to carry a pregnancy to term, regardless of whether that's what you want or not, and whether your circumstances make that feasible. So just be careful if you are seeking an abortion. Planned Parenthood is a safe starting place. And I know there are other good clinics. Just make sure you don't end up in a clinic that is not going to honor your wishes and help you get the care you're looking for. And if you do, make sure you walk away, and If they give you reading material or any of that, take it with you and share it with a trusted friend and look it over and look for signs of bias and look for signs that they're trying to dissuade you and push you away from the decision. It's fine to give you all the various options you have. It's not fine to sort of guilt you into carrying a pregnancy to term. You should never feel guilted into that. If you want a child, you should have it because you want a child, not because you felt guilty about terminating a pregnancy. Okay, well, you can reach me at laura.sturgeon@delaware.gov, and I'd be happy to share with you any of the links, websites, and information that I've shared in this video. Again, take care of yourselves. Take the time you need to grieve the end of an era. And when you are ready, and not a minute before, if you're looking for ways to take action, I've given you some ideas, and I'd be happy to share them with you again if you just want to email me, laura.sturgeon@delaware.gov, G-O-V. Thank you all. Take care. And we will get through this, and we will turn the tide. We are not going to sit back and let our rights be stripped away and let our personhood be denied and let our autonomy be taken from us. We will fight back. And I think the Supreme Court decision hopefully has awakened a sleeping giant. Thank you. Take care.